Oh yeah, what's up everybody? Steve Maggiora here, and this is my song called Unburdened. This was a co-write between me and my good buddy and former roommate, Mr. Ryan Smith. Ryan brought this one in. He had this really kick butt instrumental that he just wanted some top line over, and I fell in love with it and came up with the lyrics and the melody for it and shot it back over to him, and he was really pumped on it, so we decided to really flush it out. We got some great instrumentalists on this. The 504 horn section from Louisiana, featuring Jason Parfait on saxophone and Ian Smith on trumpet and trombone. Mr. Adam Ditt that plays for King Tree and the Earth Mothers, and Haley Reinhart, and it was a lot of fun. Ryan ended up playing all of the guitar on this. Initially, we had stuff programmed out that he programmed in Superior Drummer, and then we ended up going to the Hayden studio, and Ryan tracked his drums at Jake's studio. So very fun stuff. I ended up doing some keys here at my studio, and then we sent files back and forth. Ryan affected some of my keys, sent them back. We kind of worked on this for a couple back and forths in a couple different volleys, and it was a lot of fun to put together. So I'm really excited to show this song to all y'all. So let's check it out. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, that's so much fun. So let's just dive in here. This session obviously is, all consolidated to session start. My session that I had initially was lots of clips and stuff because I was flying things around and what have you. But this one is what you'll be working with. Everything lines up to session start. I do have the waveform pretty heinously zoomed in there, but here is all of the stuff. And then also in the multi-track folder, I've also given you all of the original outsourced material. So you can drag it into the session and see exactly what came in and mess around with it yourself so that you can get a better handle on producing stuff in the box and remotely, which is fun. I have a great time doing it, so I hope you would as well. So let's just start off with keys here. Now the keys I think were some sort of sample tank virtual instrument that we used, and then we affected it pretty crazily. So this was originally MIDI, and we ended up converting it to audio and affecting it from there. So as it came back, here's what we have. And you'll notice I do have some panning going on here, just keeping it all off to the hard left. And then jumping slightly off center. Which was just a good thing to do for an intro, I thought, was to have it not be right in the center, have there be an entrance of everything. We have it running out to the CLA2A. And I've got the mix really far down on this. Here's it at full. Here's it at full. And I just wanted it to kind of glue everything together a little bit. So I'm letting most of the original sound just happen, but then compressing it down and just blending it in. I was messing around with the 1176 from CLA. but I did not end up using it. Then I ended up doing a channel EQ and just cutting out some of this mud here. Just to remove some boominess. And then I've got it sent out to this imager, and it starts a little wide and then narrows as it goes. So everything just kind of snaps into place once the verse starts. And then what I have is I've got it sent out to a Valhalla Vintage Verb and a Vintage Vibe amp sim. And what this amp sim is doing, we'll just solo this out here. Wet, clean, 8th delay preset. So blend it in. Just giving a little bit of extra vibe. I've got it up a little bit more in the intro, and then basically just the intro and the re-intro. I dug it back down once a song goes in, go more for the direct sound, but I wanted a little bit of that vibe to happen overall. So in context, here is how it sounds all together. Nice little intro, keep it easy. And then we have the keys bridge. Now the keys bridge, I've got a bunch of stuff going on here, but let's just listen to what it was initially. So we've got a channel EQ here. It's just dipping out a little bit of 400, boosting a little bit of air. Without, with, very minimal. Little compressor, not working too hard. I was messing around with the tape delay here, but I ended up just taking all of the wetness out. I didn't think that it needed it, so that's just kind of passing through there. We can turn that off. And then I've got it sent out to the CLA 76. So chunk it up a little bit. And then we've got it sent out to a pedal board with the vibe pedal and the total trem, and blend it in with the other keys. Nice and spacey. It's fun. Next up, we got Hammond from the incredible Bob Fritzma. And I did have, and there is one overdub. I heard this line, and it was easier just for me to play it and throw it in and give him the credit. So here is the Hammond from Bob, just as it came in. Got that sent out to the CLA 2A. Just barely hitting. And a little channel EQ. There's making some room for other things there. Then we've got a Hammond reverb. And this is just the reverb track that he sent over. So that blended. And then on the Hammond sum, got this going out to the CLA 76. We got the Infinity EQ on the organ preset. widening out with the imager. And just notching out a little bit of 110. And then I tossed in an overdub over here, just myself. It kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's kind of clumsy, but in context, I think it works. There's, again, a million ways to cook a noodle. So in context, here is the organ.
Oh, I know it's been so long, holding strong. You can pluck the stars out of the sky if you choose. And if we get holding on, all our love will open up the door for something new. Can you feel the light?
And that organ's just sitting up on top, just being the icing on the cake up there. Very, very fun stuff. Very thankful for Bob. Very thankful for his friendship and collaboration on all of these tracks. It's so sick. So that's all the keyboards. Let's jump into guitars. So here's Ryan's guitars. And these ones, I was messing around with the CLA guitar stuff and then ended up just going, it didn't sound bad to begin with, but what I ended up doing was just beefing them up a little bit. So here's how they came in. Tossed on a noise gate on it, and then the Archetype Gojira on here. And this is the preset that I was working with. Just the default. And I increased the gate on it. And then same thing for guitar 2. So as they came in, I just like that sound. I think just a lot more aggressive there. And then I've got that sent out to, and I'm probably using these imagers way too much. That was a new thing for me, but seems to work. Cool. So we have this imager here, just kind of narrowing stuff up a little bit. We got the virtual mix rack on electric guitar 2. Just adding a little more gain, and then a little channel EQ. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll slap on these presets and then I'll adjust them, and sometimes I'm just happy with the extra gain. Like this really isn't doing much here. But I didn't really think it needed it. And instead of taking it off, I just left it because it's essentially just passing through, giving me a little extra gain. I don't have to mess with my automation. And also, as I'm producing and creating these things, I'm constantly making sure I can hear things by turning them up and then collectively bringing everything back down. So I don't want to have to go in there and like, oh, well, this is going to throw off my whole thing. I could probably turn it off and then boost up over here, but it's all coming through. The signal's good. And just, what's the quickest way to get from point A to point B? So sometimes I forget some of that stuff. And that's okay. It's not perfect. I know that's not perfect. I know that's not really a good thing to do, but it happens sometimes. It happens a lot for me because I tend to work very quickly. So there might be some stuff in here that it's not really doing anything. There might be a little bit of decibel 0.73, decibel 0.82, of some EQ. And then the compressor's not really doing anything. I could probably just take that off and then boost up on the fader, but if it works, it works, Sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I'll just let it go through and just color the sound. And then we have, let's see, this is all the guitars sum. So this is the verse guitars and all the other different stuff. So guitar 1, I've got this going to the CLA. We've got a channel EQ, just dipping out some unwanted frequencies, the virtual mix rack, electric guitar 1. For speed mixes, these presets work pretty dang well. So, and then I've got this sent out to a pedal board, and the pedal board is just giving a little bit of lower octave and some extra fuzz on there. So when we jump into the chorus, you'll see this automate here. So we got it muted out. And that just beefs up the chorus a little
Go
bit.
ahead and set your sights up higher, baby. Get to feel.
So, and all that that's achieving is just giving a little extra oomph to that guitar lead line. And it just kind of comes in and out on some riffs. And you can see I've automated a lot of this stuff too. I went into touch mode and just rode the fader here. Guitar 2, same thing, CLA 2A, channel EQ, and the virtual mix rack on the electric guitar. One preset for this one. So let's listen to this. There's another little double there. And then guitar 3A. Little fuzzier tone, spread out. And then guitar 4, we've got the really fun little rhythm guitar stuff going on. So as it came in, CLA 2A, barely doing anything, just gain. Yeah, the Infinity EQ on the guitar clean electric. And the virtual mix rack on electric guitar 1. And it just cuts through really nicely. And then we have guitar 5 coming up. And this one, so ran it through the CLA 2A first, and then the CLA guitar on the electric leader preset. And this just gave it a nice little extra bit of crunchiness and width. And then here for guitar 6, we've got these little chorus. Yeah. We got the CLA 2A. And the virtual mix rack on the electric guitar 1. Just for that nice bitey rip your face off. So all together, great. So moving on, we got some percussion. We got loads of percussion here. So there's a percussion 1 loop, which this is just being affected by a channel EQ with a high pass. Just a nice little shake. And then we've got some stuff coming on at the end. And some of this percussion is mine. Some of this is Ryan's contribution. And I think it just all works really well together. More percussion, the merrier, you know. Some little bongos. And then let's just build this up. So the bongos just have the CLA 2A on it. Just getting it a little bit going there. And then we have a percussion shaker. And this is some shimmer shake strike. And another one. And a third one. And this was all from one plugin. What I really like about Shimmer Shake Strike is that it gives you 3 different performances of percussion that you can either mute out or leave in, or just, in my case, if I'm bouncing into audio, to create some loops to fly around in a session. What I'll do is I'll just solo out one of them, bounce that MIDI track as audio, and then solo out the next one, bounce that as audio, solo out the next one. And then I have some control over where everything's going. So all 3 of these Shimmer Shake Strikes together. And then we have some tambourine, some more tambourine. And some of these have the CLA 2A on it. This percussion I put on the Infinity EQ just to boost up some high end. Another tambourine. And another tambourine. So many tambourines. So fun. But all together. And then on this percussion bus, all that I did was put on the Infinity EQ on the percussion preset. And get a little bit of imager going on. And that's it. Moving on to vocals, we have the vocals were split up into verse and choruses. And I've got a single double on each of these leads and then a bunch of harmonies. Not as many as I would normally have. I only did 2 tracks per part on this, but let's just give a listen to the vocal here in the verse. So this is just the CLA vocals and the RVox.
Go ahead and
face-to-face drive.
Get on up, my brother. Go ahead and lay your burden down. Get on up, my brother.
Cutting a little bit of 630
Go
out.
ahead and lay your burden down. Get on up, my brother.
I just didn't want that frequency in there.
Go ahead and lay your
It sounded a little nasally.
burden down. Get on up, my brother. Go ahead and lay your
And then we got it sent out to the
burden down.
RVox.
Get on up, my brother. Go ahead and lay your burden down. Get on up, my brother.
Same thing for the verses double
Go
and the
ahead
verses
and
chorus,
lay
right?
your burden.
So when we get to the chorus here, let's just loop this chorus.
Hey, can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first.
And then the only thing that I did was I put on the chorus double, I tossed on that saturation knob. And just a little bit, right? So here's without.
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time. Go ahead and set your sights up higher, baby.
Just to give it a little more energy.
Get to feeling right.
With the lead.
Getting peace of mind. Come on and unburden yourself. Hey, hey.
And then the only thing that I have going on the sum here is just another instance of RVox to just get them all to work together. So here's without that, right?
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time. Go ahead and set your sights up higher, baby.
And with the RVox on the sum.
Can you feel the light?
There's just so much
Burning
more
for the first time.
right there in your
Go
face.
ahead and set your sights up higher, baby.
And I'm just trying out a bunch of different stuff here. You know, I don't know if it's always going to work, but I'm just like, how do I get this to sound the way that I'm picturing in my head? And sometimes that's, you know, means breaking some of the rules. And then here we have on the background vocals here, it's just that same CLA vocals on the face-to-face dry preset and the RVox. And this is being sent out to the summing stack. And on the summing stack, I've got the CLA 2A on there, just getting everything to work together. A little channel EQ that's high passing and dipping out a little bit of 300, a little honk. And then some Infinity EQ on the mixed bus vocal enhancer that's boosting a bunch of air for clarity. So let's check it out without. I'm just going to leave the reverbs and stuff on here, but.
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time.
With the CLA.
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time.
Here's the channel EQ.
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time.
And the infinity EQ.
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time.
And you can see I was messing around with some other stuff in there too, but didn't end up using it. But it is still there in case you want to mess around with it. So that's the whole vocals. If we listen to all of the vocals just by themselves.
Getting peace of mind. Come on and unburden yourself. Hey, hey. Can you feel the light? Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time. I know that you've been wanting more for yourself lately. Everything's alright. Everything's alright. Feeling so alive. Come on and unburden yourself. Hey, hey.
Yeah. So moving on, we got some horns. We got horns from the incredible 504 Horns out of Louisiana. Jason Parfait and Ian Smith absolutely killed it on this. So let's just take a look at what I did with what they sent, which on the individual tracks was nothing. So here is how the horns came in. And I did do quite a bit of automation on this, and this should probably be all the way out. But for some reason with Logic, if you have something that goes all the way to infinity and you try to trim it down, the whole thing, it won't let you, and that really bugs me. You used to be able to do that, but now you can't. And I'm like, I don't want to have to go through and see where I put everything at null to be able to... Anyway. So some of this is just down, and I forgot to put it all the way back down to 0. But they gave me, again, more than I needed, which I'm super, super grateful for, because it makes it possible for me to actually produce the track. So here is the horns. And I've got this sent to the CLA 76. I've got an instance of D-Res going on here. Taking this out. So I don't want that. So just brought that down. Put up the Excite again. And we have the Imager, which I don't think I left on. Nope. And this channel EQ just did 2K, taking some of that out. I left off as well. But I was messing around with it, so I decided to just leave it on there, because what is the harm? And then as far as effects, I've got it going to the Abbey Road, Horn Chamber, and the Valhalla Vintage Verb, which I think I might have taken off as well. So in context,
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time. Go ahead and set your sights up higher, baby. Get to feeling right. Getting peace of mind. Come on and unburden yourself. Can you feel the light?
and then towards the end here, this is really fun. I ended up doubling up the horns, because I wanted the long notes and I wanted the little faster articulations. So here's the horns at the end. Just give a listen. And I think I just stole that from earlier on in the... These are so cool. Yeah, so I just kind of copied and flew some stuff over just to make it, give it a little extra. I thought it was really fun and really important for the end of the song to just have this epic climax. And I love all of the different things that they were doing. I just wanted more. So that's the horns there. We got some reverse cymbal in here that happens just at the end, just my normal reverse cymbal. And then we've got bass. Now, bass was interesting. Adam did absolutely crush this bass track, but for some reason, we just didn't end up using all of it. It worked really great for the arrangement that we had at the beginning. And then as things started getting more and more and more full, it just ended up being a little too muddy for what we were doing. So we ended up keeping this one little bass lick that he did. And then the rest of it, we unfortunately muted it out and went with a MIDI bass. It tightened up the whole mix a little bit better. And we got the Rock Bass 1 preset on the virtual mix rack, and then the R bass on this bass. We also have it being sent out to a bass amp. A 70 solid. And Adam's bass track, like, there's nothing wrong with it. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. It's got so much character to it, which I love. But for some reason, I was having a really difficult time getting it to sit in the track with the arrangement that we ended up having, which was not the arrangement that Adam played to. So that is one of the downsides of doing remote productions. If you don't have everything planned out, sometimes, people do work that unfortunately just can't make the cut for whatever reason. And that has nothing to do with Adam. That has to do with me not giving him something to work off of that he would be able to shine the best for what the end result is going to be. And that is my shortcoming. But I still really love this bass lick, and the whole thing was worth the price. But I am giving you all of Adam's raw bass as well, so you can, try to work it in there, see if you can do a better job than I did. Then we also have some synth bass going on, and the synth bass is just the basement bass from Logic. In with the actual bass. Nice. And then moving on to drums. Drums were fun. These, again, are the Hayden Studio, but it is Ryan Smith's performance. So all I really have on the kick here, I've got a silencer on the kick out. Let's give that a listen. Just cutting out some of that bleed. Got the kick in. And I was just checking the phase on this one. So we've got the phase flipped on this guy. Make it work a little bit better. Listen with. Then we got the kick sub. This is all being sent to the sum, which has got the virtual mix rack, big rock kick preset. We got something looping back because I got a shaker that's popping in there for some reason. Weird. Anyway, and then snare, same thing, virtual mix rack, which is my normal kind of go-to. This is the big snare preset. And on the snare top, we got the silencer, the CLA2A, and face flip. And so here is the... snare bottom. Then I added in a sample. Without the virtual mix rack. With. Lovely. Moving on, we got the rack tom and the floor tom. We got the silencer on there. We've got the rack tom vintage and floor tom vintage presets on the VMR. And then the hi-hat is the warm hi-hat preset, which I always use. The ride is the overheads preset. This is all just Slate stuff going on. Rooms mono, we use the Room Mics Vintage. And then overheads, just have the whole thing on the overhead type Vintage. And then I was messing around with the imager just to widen it out. And the drum trash mic, we're doing the Room Mic Insanity. And this one is very fun. So here's just that. And then with this. So trashy. So trashy. All right, so let's just listen to all of the drums as they came in with nothing on them. Here we go. I'm gonna start adding these back in. We got the Bus 23. This is the Abbey Road Saturator. And it's really just that saturator and then the chroma verb. And then what's this here? This is Bus 32. We're also sending it out. Yep, another chroma verb and the Abbey Road snare verb. There we go. And then, yeah, everything in.
Oh, I know it's been so long, holding strong. You can pluck the stars out of the sky if you choose. And if we keep holding on, all our love will open up the door for something new.
And then at the end here, I just have the virtual tape machine, just my normal 3. The adaptive limiter with an out ceiling of negative 1.5 dB, and then the Stevens Mastering Hard from Steven Slate. That's not my own preset. That's just on there. Steven Slate, Stevens Mastering Hard. And then I just kind of turn that gain knob up until it sounds massive. Obviously, I'll take that off before I send it to mastering, but here you can hear what they're doing.
Can you feel the light? I'm burning for the first time. Go ahead and set your sights up higher, baby. Get to feeling right, like getting peace of mind. Come on and unburden yourself, yeah. Can you feel the light? Can you feel the light? For the first time, I know that you've been wanting more for yourself lately. Everything's alright, everything's alright. Feeling so alive. Come on and unburden yourself, hey.
Yeah. So that is Unburdened. I hope you have a wonderful time mixing this. And make sure check out the Rock and Rolodex. Ryan's contact info is in there. And Ryan also teaches lessons. He teaches private lessons. So if you're looking for drum lessons or guitar lessons or piano lessons for you or a loved one, make sure you reach out to Ryan. Also, if you need production elements, the dude is multi-talented. Check out Jake's info in Rock and Rolodex for the Hayden Studio. If you have any drums that you need tracked, or if you have anybody in LA that needs to go track at a studio, Jake's gear is just unbelievable, and he is a great engineer as well. Also, Bob Fritzman's contact is in there. My contact's in there. So let's do some cool stuff together. Hit us up. Happy mixing, happy producing, and we'll see you on the next one. Yeah.